Hey y'all, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and I disappeared off the face of the earth like 5 days ago. I am going to be fully transparent. I've been going through it mentally, and then I got an infection, and I just haven't felt good. It's just been a whole thing, and I needed some time off. But we're back, and I am ready to read more scary stories that you guys have sent in to me. So if you have any stories that you would like for me to read, please send them to the description below, and I will also put it up here. Also, down in the description below, you will find podcast episode links. We have kind of paused the podcast, but there's previous episodes you guys can listen to. That will be restarting in June, so look out for that. You'll also find other social media links there as well. Anyways, without further ado and without further interruption from the loud trucks outside, let's get into these stories. This story is about a thing that mimics my mom's voice. So I'm from Australia, and I live in a rural town up north, and scary stuff is so common around here because of how dark the history of my country is. I've experienced so much supernatural occurrences in my small town ever since I was little. I was celebrating my 18th party a few days ago, and one of my cousins, who were there, who I haven't seen in a while, were celebrating it with me at my mom's house late in the afternoon. Well, my mom's house has always scared people and gave them a bad feeling. The house is an old housing commission's house from the 70s or 60s. Honestly, I believe there's something tied to it that we don't know of. On my party, when me and my partner were leaving to go home, my cousin crashed my mom's couch for the night. Everything was fine until my mom called me the next day. She told me my cousin had an experience with the thing that lives in her house. He said he woke up to my mom standing over him with a dark figure behind her, telling him to get out. But my mom was asleep in her bedroom the entire night. He started crying and ran to her, and he ended up staying in my elder brother's bedroom that night. My younger brothers also experienced something similar that same night when he had his friend over. They heard my mom's voice calling them from the kitchen, which was in pure darkness. My brother got scared and checked my mom's room to see if she was asleep, and she was. Him and his friend locked themselves in the room all night and didn't sleep because of how terrified they were. Now, I don't know what it is, but it has never actually bothered me. Its presence has scared me, but I have actually seen glimpses of it. It's never been aggressive towards me in any way, though. However, it seems to not like my older brother or his partner whatsoever. It has tormented his girlfriend and shown itself to her more than once. It has sworn at my brother and called him names, and I don't know if it likes my younger brother at all. Only when I was younger did I see it imitate my mom, but I was very young and I haven't seen it do that since, nor have I heard it use my mom's voice. So many members of the family, especially my cousins, have had an experience with it. I genuinely don't like being in a room at my mom's house by myself because I can feel it. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know. I have plenty more stories of this thing from all different people. I don't know why, but that's giving poltergeist to me. Like, it doesn't seem like a traditional mimic in the sense it feels like a poltergeist. That's definitely, that does not need to be there. I would recommend a banishment for that one because, Alright, next story. I live in Florida, far away from the mountain. For context about these stories, I'm a lucid dreamer. They're so lucid that I struggle to know if I'm dreaming or not, so in the dream, I'm always doing the pinch method, pinching to see if I feel it. I have my suspicions of me being gifted, but not sure due to its strange circumstances of my gift in questioning. I don't see or hear, but everything happens in my dreams. I know many will say it's just a dream, but they're as lucid as mine, and I think otherwise. In this dream, I get out of bed, it's a bunk, and I'm on top. I get down to see all of my stuffed animals in the room that have very dark expressions and are moving strangely. I try to pray, but the prayers don't leave my mouth. I leave the room with my sister to the living room to see the sinister stuffed animals peeking out at me from the corner of the wall from my room with a sinister grin. In front of my room is my brother's room, and in the middle of our room doors is the bathroom, so we both go to the kitchen island only for me to see a 2-year-old cousin laying on the bathroom floor crying. I had a bad feeling. I don't know how I knew, but I grab my sister as she's going to grab her, and I tell her don't go in there. That's not her. We try to go into my brother's room, and the door shuts behind me. I look around, and the next thing I know, I see a boy who I don't recognize hanging from my brother's closet. They said something, but I don't remember now, and I woke up wide-eyed wondering what was that. In another dream, I've had... Your turn. In another dream, I've had multiple different settings. I've been dragged out of bed by nothing, unable to move or speak. In the last dream, I was in a cabin, and my family was having a good time. Everything seemed normal until my boyfriend's face melted away. As his face melted away, so did his body, revealing a demon-like figure. I don't remember what they wanted, but it was obvious that they wanted something from me, almost like they wanted to strike a deal, but I just kept screaming no over and over until it went away. I remember no one understood me, but I wrote on my arm, "I need to wake up," showing it to someone, but my writing turned into a different language, and eventually I woke up. And those are only the fraction of my lucid paranormal dreams. P.S. I'm not being haunted physically or experiencing anything concerning. I just get odd dreams randomly and wanted to share to see if other people experience the same thing. I hope you and many others enjoy my stories. So with that, I would recommend putting up some sort of protection on you at night because you're really vulnerable when you sleep. So that could definitely be something. It could just be that you're having nightmares. Also, another little trick that I've learned, if you're in a dream and you become very aware that you're dreaming, don't let the other things in the dreams know that you know, because it could be dangerous. So always keep that in and just try to wake yourself up quietly. Alright, next story. I live in a house that has a lot of paranormal experiences. There has been something strange happening the past few weeks that I was hoping to get an outside looking in perspective, because I'm actually starting to get a little scared, to be honest. A little backstory. We live in West Virginia, and the house that we live in is very old, over 100 years old. We bought it from a family member who had only owned it for a few years. Pretty much immediately, we started experiencing things. We started seeing things out of the corner of our eyes and hearing noises, the basic things. Shadow figures are a big thing here, too. One tall man we all see in our hallway from time to time being one of them. Most of the things we experience don't scare us because it's never felt threatening. However, what I'm wanting to tell you about freaks me out. So one day I was in my pantry putting away food at the grocery store. My arms were up and I saw my daughter in my peripheral peek around the corner at me. She loves to sneak up on me, so I said, "I see you," and she popped back around without saying anything. Immediately I look around the corner to see where she went and she was gone. I walked to her room where she's a good bit away to find her on the bed with headphones in playing on her phone. I said, "Were you just in the kitchen with me?" She looked very confused and said, "No." I immediately got chills. The next instance. My husband and I laid down for the night, and normally I fall asleep watching TV, but this night I decided to turn it off and try to go to sleep. I keep a light on in the hallway for my kids, so it gives a low light in the doorway of my bedroom. I had my glasses off and I can't see anything. I roll over to get comfortable and I see a very fuzzy outline of my daughter standing in the doorway. I speak out, "Are you okay, baby?" And she runs back to her bedroom. Very odd behavior for her. So I get up and go check on her and she's asleep. It scared me to death. I know it wasn't her. It's my kid. I know my kid. So this brings me to my last and most recent thing. I'm first to wake up in the morning so I can start packing everyone's lunches. On these cold mornings, my husband will go out shortly after me so he can start the Jeep to warm up. So as I'm packing lunches, I keep the lights off and just use low lights around the house. I thought I heard a noise and grabbed my phone to look around behind me. Well, I see the back end of my husband's robe turn the corner to head into our mudroom. "Good morning," I say. No response. I didn't hear the front door open either, so I popped around to see what he was doing, and no one was there. I immediately ran to our bedroom to find him still in bed. What the hell is going on? Why am I seeing my family? I've seen what I thought was my son too, but it was just a few years ago. It was the only time that it happened up until now, and it's happening often. This all happened within a week or two. Is it a mimic? I just don't understand, and honestly, I don't get a good feeling from it at all. Any advice would help. So I am pretty sure I've already told and read this story and gave my advice. I remembered that like halfway through, and then my husband was like, "I've heard this story," off to the side of the camera. So I've definitely already given my advice. Definitely sounds like a mimic. Yeah, definitely get rid of it. If they haven't already, I'm sure they have. Alright, next story. In 2021, my husband and I moved into a new home. While getting the home cleaned up and ready for us to move in, we had some occurrences that led us to believe that we had a welcoming committee awaiting us. It's a nice way of putting spirits. My mom was helping out and would go over to clean the carpets while my husband and I were at work, and she would see shadows from the corner of her eye or just generally feel off as if she was being watched. There was also a day where we were all over there working, and right as we were leaving, my mom and I were inside having a conversation in the kitchen. Well, I happened to look over her shoulder while we were talking to see her purse strap being lifted into the air. We even walked in one day to one of the rooms smelling so strongly like peppermint. We then decided we wanted to test out our theory and see if there was something there. So one day while cleaning, we set up an old phone with a camera recording. It was laid against the table so you couldn't see anything, but our goal was to hear. After rolling back the clip later on, you could hear something whisper at about 45 seconds in. It sounds like, "I'm right here." At least that's what we think. I have attached the video at the bottom. There are a couple of things to note about this. 1, you'll hear me spraying cleaner at the back in the background, and then my mom and I talking. We were the only ones in the house. 2, I recommend deleting the video from your device after it's downloaded to watch or listen. I've had issues with every device it's been saved on since recording it. The old phone that I have it stored on works perfectly fine before, but now it messes up all the time. And when I sent it to my current phone, my phone started glitching, so I only keep it saved on the old phone, nowhere else. After this, my mom went over there a few more times and said that she was starting to get some severe negative vibes from the house's invisible occupant. So my grandmother blessed the house. I've recorded this as well on a voice recording, but they've completely vanished from my phone. I've tried searching everywhere and can't find them. This was recorded on my current phone. I wish they hadn't, because those are the ones that a presence was really shown in. I recorded this on a voice recorder this time and used the transcribe feature to see if I picked up anything that maybe we couldn't audibly hear. The transcription had everything my grandmother was saying, but in between would cut to things like, "We are here, what are you doing?" and then other random words. But it was picking up the responses to my grandmother trying to make this entity leave the home. During all of this, out of nowhere, my mom just starts crying, gets this overwhelming sadness about her, and afterwards she described it as watching one of her kids getting in front of her while she couldn't do anything about it. I don't know what was going on with this entity, or why it was there, or what it needed or wanted, unfortunately, as it seems to have left after the house had been blessed. But we still do seem to have something in the house. Whatever it is likes to mostly keep itself hidden. I only see movement out of the corner of my eye mostly. Sometimes I'll see what looks like a cat walking into my bedroom down the hall, even though he'll be sitting right next to me. I've always dealt with strange things and interactions with the unknown since I was a kid, but this is definitely one of the stories that takes the cake for me. It's so weird to go through.
Anything?
Huh?
Any kind of difference at all?
No.
That spot right there, where like the soap would sit, by that candle thing, try right there and see if it does anything.
Oh, hey.
Is it?
Come here.
Okay.
Look at this one.
Oh. Between that bleach, that purple powder and that thing, you can tell, honestly, when if you just look at the shower wall here, you can tell that I actually scrubbed it.
Right.
Because it doesn't have that nasty film on it still.
Right.
And then even these, look, this will come off.
Well, those are already way better.
It's gonna take quite a bit, like, I'm wondering if we take this off, look. Cause it does scrape off, but I've seen the scratch, I think I can see. When it just bubbled up, when it's starting to foam up, that's when it works best.
Alright, let's read one more story. I've been watching your content for quite some time now, first on TikTok and now YouTube, as I binge watch your videos the moment I'm back from my dorms for the weekend. Skipping that, around 2023, I sent you a story that I don't know if you read or received, then another about sleep paralysis. I'm also not sure if you read it. I'm not really surprised considering the amount of stories that you must receive. I'll just type them shortly here. In advance, I'm very sorry about my spelling and or grammar mistakes, as English is not my first language. Kind of embarrassing to mess up the spelling as a there I go.
You got it right?
Linguistics? Linguini?
Linguistics.
So I said it right the first time. and just repeated it for no reason. Okay. My cousin told me something our grandma told her after she neared death. She attempted, if I can put it that way so YouTube doesn't get mad at you. She believed that, to some degree, all the stuff that made my family as miserable as it is might be related, slightly also her mental state. My family also has been messed up ever since I can remember. There was stuff they talked about in hushed tones when I was around. Problems no one wanted to tell me about, and then came personal problems that everyone from my mother's side had. My great-grandma is by all means not a good person. I know it's not up to me to judge one's morals, but I genuinely believe that if you asked anyone in the family, they would say the same thing. At this point, I'm convinced she just brings bad luck. I'm not sure what year it occurred, but what I know is that a so-called curse is at least 17 or 18 years old. As I am 16, it's older than me. By a good few years from what I know. My cousin who told me about this curse had experienced the paranormal, as the property my mom's side owns is basically in the forest. And she's also experienced from the apartment she lived in a town near the property. So I'd say she's just a magnet, if I can put it that way. But back to the story. My great-grandma said something along the lines of, I curse my grandchildren, my grand-grandchildren. I'm not sure if it was another generation too. So my grand-grand-grandchildren, as I was told the story over 2 years ago, as they will never succeed in life and be miserable, and poof, ever since then, disasters. I don't know if you can curse someone like that, but it's very weird overall. If you have any opinion or advice, I'd love to hear it. I mean, intention and energy is everything. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I don't really know anything about breaking generational curses or things, but I would look into someone that specializes in that to see what they have to say and let them read it as well. Story number 2. The one I copied in had happened around 1.5 years ago now. It happened a while ago, but I still decided to share. I've been watching your content for some time now and thought you may be interested. It was around the end of summer vacation, last days before I became a freshman in high school. I was under a lot of stress and all. But anyways, it was a pretty warm summer night. I was raised in Eastern Europe in a very, very Catholic family. Not really my parents, but the older generations. So, any education about spirits and things I tried to get myself. I always seemed interested in that sort of thing, and my absolute Roman Empire are religions. I know a lot about Christianity, and I moved to educating myself on other beliefs. I'm a non-believer when it comes to gods. I was heavily interested in witchcraft some time ago, still kind of am, but around the time the story happened, I got down to educating myself on Satanism. I got my hands on the infamous Satanic Bible online and downloaded the PDF and read some of it, but forgot about it for a while. It was a normal night, a pretty warm one. I went to sleep pretty late at night, around midnight, I would say. Before the paralysis the dream was about had me laying in bed, looking at my window and hearing a female scream for help and some other male voices. As I said, I'm a non-believer, so my choice in that dream was pretty weird as I decided to pray. I put my hands in a weird way, kind of bending my ring and middle finger and putting them together. I said something along the lines of, "You exist, I know you do." I can't remember if I mentioned Satan in that prayer, but moments later, the next thing that I know, alongside my bed, is I see a black goat. It didn't seem so big when it was on all fours, but to my horror, I could not breathe normally, nor move or close my eyes. My breath was so quick, I was choking on the air while the goat moved to the foot of my bed and stood on 2 legs. It was around 7 feet or maybe 8 at best. At that moment in my head, I heard a whisper, "Do you believe in me?" After that, I finally was able to close my eyes, and when I opened them, the goat disappeared. It lasted seconds, really around maybe 10 seconds at best, but got me so creeped out I fell asleep after the sun rose. For the extra bonus of the experience, I had a red light turned on and added the aura of some spookiness. I told my friends about it, and one of them said, "Don't worry, he came to say hi. He just wanted to ask you your thoughts about it. Maybe even more people's thoughts if you decided to post it." Anyways, that's all of my story. I haven't had a sleep paralysis since, and I'm very happy about that, because I haven't slept for 2 days. P.S. When I was little, I liked to question God about his existence, with a "Please, please, Lord, give me a sign if you're real." I never got one, so it's kind of funny. Have a good day/night. It could have been him just being like, "Hello, I'm here." Like, I know someone didn't answer me, but I know someone didn't answer you, but I did. A bonus one and a very short one that is no way related, but I found it so weird, so I decided to put it here. I simply laid in bed. I believe I was actually watching your TikToks as it happened, but I'm not sure. Might have done that a little before it happened. Outside of my window, I heard meowing, but it wasn't like a normal meow. It sounded human. It meowed outside my window, and I almost shit myself as I realized that in no way did it sound like an actual cat. I did not have a cat back then. I texted my friend, and it went on for around 3 to 5 minutes after. It eventually stopped, and I still try to convince myself it was just a cat in heat that somehow ended up in my garden. Thank you for finding the time to read my ridiculously long stories. I'd absolutely love to hear your opinions, and I'd appreciate any advice you have. Do you think me asking any god for proof of existence might be related to the sleep paralysis? Again, very sorry if it's misspelled or all around straight up yapping. I randomly decided to send them again as I'm currently on break from work and binge watching your content. You're not yappy. I loved it. I was definitely something telling you that it's real, for sure. They like to present themselves in dreams. Coming from someone who Lilith presented herself to me in visions and in dreams. So yes, that definitely could have been something. What's your take on that? Do you think it was someone?
Something answered.
What deity represents a goat? Because I don't think it's Lucifer, is
Asmodeus.
it? Asmodeus. Baphomet in a way.
Baphomet does have a goat head, yeah.
What animals is Lucifer related to? Hold on. Let me look that up.
Serpents.
Swans, crows, peacocks, bats, snakes, dragons, and lions. But it also could say on here, it says goats sometimes. Swans and serpents seem to be the main ones. I don't think it was Lucifer. It could have been, though.
It could have been.
I don't know. Anyways, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you tomorrow.